Okay.
It is time to begin. Guests and members, join in. To all of you who joined the meeting, we extend our warmest greeting. Every month we meet on Fridays, just the first and the third. We prepare inspiring speeches and enjoy the spoken word. After every presentation, we provide evaluation. With the best intent, just to help our members grow. Dear guests, please be prepared. You may also be called on. Everybody should contribute in our Table Topics Marathon. Whether you are guest or member, we will ask you to remember your cell phones should be muted and the ether not polluted with the sounds of feisty pets. And there is one more request. Your unnecessary actions can be looked at as distractions. Let them stay behind the scene. For a while, turn off the screen. But as soon as you are done, turn the camera back on. And here is another warning. We are making a recording. If you don't want your face to show, it's no problem. Just let us know. And don't worry. In that case, no one will see your face. Let's get started. Take your places. Nice to see your smiling faces. Our president, Sandra Savage, creative, caring, and more, is now ready to take the floor.
Love you, Tamara. Love those openings. I would like to thank you all for attending this morning. Victoria, our newest member, is here. And we also have a special visitor from our division. Celine, would you let everybody know a little bit about you and what you would like to see out of today's meeting?
Hi, everyone. My name is Celine West. I'm the incoming Division C director, and I'm honored to have this role. I'm currently the interim C4 director. And I basically just wanted to come in and introduce myself and also just get a feel for what your meeting is like. I've never been to this meeting before, and I'm just looking forward to just participating in your meeting. And also, I was checking out the DCP goals for you guys, and you are practically select distinguished. It looks like you can be president's distinguished, but you need a few more members. So I was hoping to talk with a few of the officers either after the meeting today or probably maybe make an appointment for the following week to have maybe more of a lengthy conversation about that. Because if you are able to be president's distinguished this term, that would be amazing. And it would also support your growth for next term. You'd get a nice head start. So just wanted to check in about that and also just be in the meeting and participate and just join you guys, actually. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I like to think of DCP points as having an A+ on your report card and skipping home to show it off to mom and to show everybody else how good your school is or your club is in this case. We have a couple guests with us today I'd like to introduce. Gisela, would you like to introduce yourself for a moment?
Yeah, I'm Gisela and I'm a member of Toastmasters Salisbury in the UK, and I also go to Blarney. And I have very good news for you guys. I will be the new member. I will register in the month of June.
We are getting so close to our goal, and that's going to be great. It also gives us all a chance to really practice our advanced speeches and, most importantly, our evaluations. And I'll be putting in our evaluation criteria, especially for Celine, who's not seen what we've done in the past with Jon White and a few others in this group, Victoria, myself, who put together a lot, about 9 months of learning how we can be better evaluators. So we've really honed that in. And you'll get to see that as well in our SNAP evaluations. We also have Patrick with us today. Good morning, Patrick. Or afternoon for you. No, morning. Morning. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you? Patrick?
Oh,
there.
yes. Hi. Caught me sleeping there. I guess I need some more coffee. Hello, everyone. I've been here a couple times already. For those who may be unaware, I've been in Toastmasters several years now, and this may be the next step of my journey if things work out. A lot of moving parts there. Not sure how it's all going to fall out, but I'm happy to be here. It's a wonderful club. I love everything that you guys got going on, and great members, great meetings. Thanks for having me as a guest again.
Thank you, Patrick. Let's see, who else? E.T., it's good to see you, or at least your screen again, and thank you for coming back and visiting us. You're from where? Indonesia, if I remember correctly?
Yes. Yes, correct.
And how many years have you been in Toastmasters?
5 years.
5 years. That's great. I bump into E.T. all over the world. He's kind of like me, who is like a toastaholic. So it's a lot of fun to reconnect with him. And am I missing anyone? I think the rest of us are our guests. Well, we have a jam-packed agenda today, mainly because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking during our workshop. So I'm going to turn it over now to Jon White, who's going to be our Toastmaster of the day. And if you wouldn't mind introducing the theme and our role players.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, Masters of Evaluation and guests. The theme is motivating mentoring. I've had a mentor or two in my life, and that's made a huge change. And I've been able to be a mentor in Toastmasters. I think if you're in Toastmasters for more than a year or two, at some point it becomes about supporting others. And it's one of the great experiences I've had to actually help others develop and gain confidence in their public speaking and just in leadership overall. So I'm looking forward to the workshop today. That is 25 minutes of goodness. Take your pen out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pearls of wisdom, and you identify ways in which you become a better mentor and also a mentee. It's a two-way street, as Victoria Trabash will tell you. So with that, I want to introduce our team today. We are without a Zoom master, but I think we can Zoom master by village, if that makes sense. We will collectively watch each other. And so I will move on to our general evaluator. It says PM5, but we know her as a DTM. It's just a minor technicality. Victoria Trabash, general evaluator. What will you be doing today?
Thank you so much, Jon, and thank you all, especially our visitors. The general evaluator's role is very simple. Give the temperature for the whole meeting. How did we do? I've been having a lot of medical treatments lately, and they take my temperature every day, sometimes twice a day. And they're always checking to make sure that my temperature isn't too high or too low. And that's what I'll be doing for this meeting. How is our temperature? Did we run the meeting well? How were the transitions and the handoffs? We see Toastmasters as an opportunity to practice regardless of our role, whether you're the timer, the GE, a speaker, or an evaluator. You participate in table topics, or you're just there for the ride and a little popcorn. We welcome everyone. We succeed because you succeed. And I'm looking forward to giving my general evaluation at the end of the meeting. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. I will say whenever I'm at MOE, it's always hot. But as I hail from Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley, I will say it's a dry heat. It's a good heat is what I'm saying. I want to introduce our word of the day, grammarian counter. One of the ways you get better in Toastmasters is you just jump in and do it. And that's what Victoria James has been doing ever since she joined us. Victoria, what are you doing today?
Thank you, Jon. Hi, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As your grammarian, my job is to pay attention and listen very carefully to all of the speakers. That includes the table topics and everybody serving roles. I'm going to keep track of your language usage and note linguistic gems and germs. So, as Sandra Savage explained to me, these are outstanding words or phrases. Those are the gems. And the germs might be dull or cliche or improper usage of language. It's also my duty to introduce the word of the day, which today I'm posting to the chat, is cohesion. So cohesion is the act or fact of forming a united whole, unity, togetherness, solidarity, bond. So an example is the business performed better this year due to improvements in team cohesion. So each speaker is going to be encouraged to use the word of the day, including in your roles, like I said, and in the table topics. And I will give a grammarian report at the end with counts of each person's use of word of the day and notable gems and germs. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Gems and germs? We sometimes self-police. Why don't you give yourself praise and include that in your report? That was a linguistic gem. That was wonderful. And also a thorough report. It was a cohesive one at that, which is related to cohesion. We move on to our timer. Even though we're advanced clubs, we sometimes take on new roles. The best way to do it is to prepare yourself. And I know Trudy was here early, going over with Sandra and others, the timing rules and things of that sort. So I know she's prepared and she's a model for how you perform your role, whatever it might be. Trudy, what does a timer do? If you could unmute, please, Trudy.
Yes. The timer for today is Trudy Charles Young. And it would be very special because there's a cohesion between the speaker and me. I have to make sure that I time you well. So one of the skills Toastmasters practice is speaking within a specific time, and the timer is therefore responsible for monitoring each time of each speaker. Well, we have only one speaker today, and my role as timer is to indicate intervals for that speaker. She would be speaking for 25 minutes, 15, 20, and 25. And within each, I would do a timing. I will indicate the first time with a green light, which is at 15 minutes, then yellow at 20, and at 25, she would be at red. And you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. And then I have table topics that will be handled. And at green light, it will be at 1 minute, and yellow at 1.5 minutes, and red at 2 minutes, making it very cohesive. Now, we have what you call snap evaluation. And the snap evaluation, you will speak, and it goes for 1 minute. And at 1 minute, I'm turning the red light on. That's all I'm turning on. Okay? So when you see red, better stop. Otherwise, you go to jail. For the evaluators, at green is 1 minute. That's evaluator of the speaker, I mean. And yellow is 1.5 minutes, and red is 2 minutes. And then the general evaluator, you have only 3 minutes to speak, and then you wrap it up. So green is 1 minute, yellow is at 2 minutes, and red is at 3 and 30 seconds to wrap it up. But with this group, you might go on a bit longer, do not know. So you would like to form a stronger bond, the evaluator, but don't go too long. Otherwise, you'll be in jail. That's my task.
Well done. I don't want to steal Victoria Trabash's thunder, but early reports are that was an excellent report on what your role is. Tamara, your table topics? What does that involve?
Yes. That involves commenting on quotes which I selected according to the topic today, mentoring. And I am already trying to figure out who I'll invite to speak or to comment and to give a snap evaluation on which quote. There are not too many of us today, so there will be 6 pairs. And I hope everybody will get his or her share, an opportunity to speak and make us all happy by your thoughts and ideas.
I can't wait. I actually can, but I know I will not be exempt. There's no exemption from this. Anyway, we're now moving on to the prepared speaking portion of our meeting, which features Sandra Savage, Distinguished Toastmaster. Buckle in, get your pencil and pen, and Victoria Travash.
Mr. Toastmaster, if you would notice on the agenda, we're doing table topics first today, mixing it up. You see that?
Thank you so much. I did not notice. Thank you for that. Tamara, why'd you give it back to me? You should have just taken it over. I should have read the agenda. Thank you, Vicky.
Okay, so let us start. The first quote sounds like this: "The delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves." And I would invite my mentor, Vicky, to answer this question, to comment on this quote, please.
Thank you very much, dearest mentee. I want to tell a story about a mentor I had, a very, very wealthy man in Portland. We were super close, and I had to raise $100,000 for the food bank in Oregon. And I thought, I got a shot. I'm going to get this whole thing from Roger. I called Roger and I said, "Can we talk?" He goes, "What do you want to talk about?" I said, "I have to raise money for the food bank and I'm coming for a donation." So one thing a mentor and mentee should be is very direct and very honest. And he said, "Sure, come on and see me." So I went into his office and I told him the story of I was raising money and I needed $100,000. And he stopped and he looked at me and he said, "No." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Vicky, I don't see the hungry in Portland." Now, this man gave away millions of dollars. I was not offended at all, but I realized at that moment, when we ask people for something they don't care about, we should not be offended by the no. For me, a great mentor means an honest relationship. And from that statement, I grew. I ran a foundation for 11 years. And if I would ask people for money and they didn't care about my topic, which was Rwanda, I was never offended. But I know that if you're afraid of no, you never get to yes. So for each of you considering a mentor or being a mentor, make sure you have an honest conversation that is built on rapport and that what is said between you helps both of you grow. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much. Wonderful story. I would ask Sandra to comment on this, just to show our guests the example of how SNAP evaluation goes. And then you will be able to relax and wait for your next portion.
Well, I knew you were going to pick on me because it's hard to follow up with Vicky. I would have actually liked to have maybe seen a little bit of a upside down approach to the way that you answered, and start off with the word no. You'd get our attention instantly. You get to the end and then tell the story behind it. I think that would have been very effective, because the word no is something we've heard a bazillion times, but don't expect to be told no by a mentor or a boss, or maybe a boss. I love the story. I love that you made it a personal goal of yours versus a work-related goal. that shows me your versatility. And I think that's all I have to say, Vicki. I just start with a stronger beginning. And a lot of times you save the best for last, and I'd like to see it inverted. But overall, it's a very cohesive speech.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Now the next quote sounds like this. There is no such thing as a self-made man. You will reach your goals only with the help of others. And I would invite Patrick to comment on this quote, please. Oops. Patrick, please.
Yes, this had a little problem with the button finger there. I believe that is true. There's a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. We are not islands unto ourselves. We're not made to be that way as people. If you want to get stuff done, regardless if that's in the marketplace or helping people or whatever part of life or your life it is, you're going to need the help of others to get there. And that works both ways. It's reciprocal. At least it should be by default. You help someone, and then an opportunity will probably present itself someone down the way, somewhere down the road, for them to return that favor and help you. Maybe it's happening simultaneously. You're helping each other. There we go. There's some gestures, helping each other, at the same time. So I really think that it's the only way you're going to achieve the goals that you want is with the help and support of others. I don't think it would be incredibly difficult to do it by yourself. If you look at just about everything, it's always more than one person involved. Thank you for the great question. Back to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you very much for the gorgeous answer to this and comments. And we will ask our guest, Alice, to comment, to give a snap evaluation. Could you do it, please?
Okay. Yes. Actually, I cannot comment really. I just listen to part of it, like only for the quote. I think we can give the others. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It was your first attempt. So now you will know that you should be ready to ask to give snap evaluation any moment. Okay, now we have such a quote. It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. And we will ask our guest, Selena, the leader, to comment on this quote, please. I can repeat. It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader.
Thank you for that question, Madam Table Topics Master. It is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. I believe that that is true. I think that leadership very strongly coincides with the definition of self-esteem, actually, that I like, which is by Nathaniel Branden. He says that self-esteem is actually understanding that you're worthy of your own needs and wants and trusting your own mind to bring that to fruition in your life. And when you are able to do that, you automatically respect that need in others. And you also automatically empathize with that need in others. Now, I feel that that coincides with leadership because when you're doing that for yourself, and you're automatically empathizing with what is going on with other people, you can kind of see you can kind of read them and see what's good for them and good for what's supportive, I guess, towards the greater good of the group. Actually, I think that leaders are visionaries, actually, and I believe that leadership and management are two different things. A good leader is somebody who takes risks and who does so not only for the self, and it's not selfish, it's actually rational selfishness, which actually is deeply connected with your vision for what's good for the group. There is an ability to encourage people to collaborate. And I think that that's a form of unity, but I think that people get unity confused with thinking in a uniform way when really what a visionary does is sees the complexities that are involved and how people are similar but different and is able to pull that information together and communicate it in such a way that inspires people to actually become individuals and collaborators and great leaders themselves. And actually, even though that's not completely uniform, there's enough collaboration where people just have the innate ability to actually unify their vision in such a way that it's supportive of themselves and other people at the same time. I think that we are designed that way. So I think a good leader is able to visualize that and inspire those to act in their own best interest.
Thank you. Thank you. We will now ask Casey to comment on this, to give a snap evaluation for 1 minute, please.
Thanks, Tamara, because I totally got distracted. But I will say this for Celine, I did enjoy how you were in the beginning, how you were able to bring the cohesion together with leadership and self-esteem of the leader. I would say that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of, or reflecting more of what the question was asking was how to bring that out or how that would affect the person that's being mentored, opposed to more so of the mentor instead of reflecting it upon the mentee.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you. And now a little bit different question so that you can relax a little bit. It's about a smile. A smile is a curved line that sets things straight. And this quote goes to Gisela. Please, Gisela, I'll repeat. A smile is a curved line that sets things straight.
That's thank you very much. This is Toastmaster. That's a very interesting question. I never heard about that quote before. So I would say if I see a smile on somebody's face, I sense and I feel deep down a connection with the other person, cohesive, and I feel also that there is a type of understanding between two people who want to, if this is person A and this is person B, with a smile on your face, you try to create what I call in management a common ground, okay, where two people can work together. And I mean, if one person smiles, the other one will automatically smile too, to be in cohesion with that person. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. You used the word of the day. Wow. And we will ask Trudy. I know that Trudy is timing, but maybe one little except. No. Okay. Then we will ask. Victoria. Victoria, would you like to comment on this, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Gisela, beautiful answer. What I liked about it was you made it very personal. You didn't talk about it theoretically. You actually used the word of the day twice, I heard, not just once. And when you talked about your personal understanding of the power of a smile, it made me reflect on what a smile means to me. I really enjoyed that. The couple things you could do. One, I don't think you hit the time. So you were less than a minute. I didn't see the green light go on. So make sure you meet the minimum time as well, because I think you could have added a little more and you could have encouraged us. So the next time you wonder if you could say something like, the next time you wonder if a smile makes a difference, try it. You'll learn it will. And then send it back to our table topics master, which I will do right now, tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, do we still have time for one more, maybe? Do we?
We have until you have 18. No, you got 18 minutes. No, you got 12. You have until 9:45. You can
That
do
would
it.
be 13 minutes for those
Thank you,
that
John.
do math.
Okay, okay.
For a master's degree, that was very poor math and an accounting major in undergrad. So I'm sorry about all that.
Okay, how about such a quote? Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a poof in the right direction. We will ask Jon, our Toastmaster today, to comment on this. He's experienced. He probably will tell us something very, very interesting.
Thank you for not calling me old and calling me experienced. That was very nice of you. Can I just say that with your questions, it's the beauty of the language. Victoria James is just saying, thank God I took on word grammarian today. I just enjoy the sound of it. And I haven't quite gotten to the meaning of it, but it's all true what you said. There's the thoughts. Let's just talk about things. That's the brain. Also, to be heard, Victoria talked about that you have to have a conversation. There has to be a rapport. There's that you're actually being heard and seen rather than being lectured. That's how the brain and the ear work. And then there is a bit of pushing. So you have to have a trusting relationship that the push is not about the selfish leader or the narcissistic leader, that is something that they're pushing you for your better, for your good. So I like the combination of all of those things. Yeah, I would just say when you push me, I need a little sugar before the push. I'm just saying, I think it's like in coaching, it's nice to know who you're working with and their sensitivities. And I will need your ear before you pushed me, if that makes sense. The sequence is important. Alas, I could go on, but I will just end it with that, Tamara. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. And we will ask Michael to give a snap evaluation to Jon's comments, please.
Thank you, Madam Tabletop Master. I don't know if I've heard truer words recently, other than unfortunately, I could go on from Jon. I have had that feeling sometimes over a cup of coffee with him. Gosh, it is sometimes unfortunate that he can go on, but not today. Today was lovely because not only did he start with a compliment to the speaker, to the question, he started expanding on each of the categories, the brain, the ear, and a little bit of push. And I thought, since Jon is such a good man on his feet, that there'd be a great opportunity to add more body parts or physical reactions as a mentor. And I don't know what they might be, the foot, the pinky finger, I don't know, for swearing, and then to mention his own personal preference in how he would want to be mentored. And as I have seen so many times, he is a master at putting together cohesion wise the message, the delivery, and to the right audience. A mentee can benefit so much from Jon's expertise. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Now, um, we have such an interesting quote. It's not directly about mentoring, but it's by Winston Churchill. And when I saw it, I just couldn't help but including it into our table topics today. This is how it sounds. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And I would ask David to comment on this quote, please. David, are you there? Okay, then maybe David will join us a little later, maybe. Then we will ask Victoria James, please, could you comment on this? I will repeat. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give.
Wow. It's difficult for me not to go deep with such a quote from Winston Churchill. What comes to mind is I was a teenage single mother. So before I was an adult, I had a child. I was 15 years old when my son Julian was born. And everybody around me was devastated. My aunt said she was shocked and appalled. Well, she said this behind my back, of course. It was a scandal. It was scandalous. I have a lot of Irish Catholics in my family. But even as a young person, I think I had a very old soul. And in my heart, I knew that it was going to be okay, that I was going to get a job. I was going to finish college. I was going to do all the little things that you have to do that everybody was worried about. But in order to really put my heart and soul behind my work, behind my life, it was going to be okay for me to start by giving everything I had and to give that to my children at first. And that taught me a lesson that stayed with me for my entire life. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will ask Casey, would you like to comment on that? I'm asking for the second time because I told you there are not so many of us and we just need to, if maybe you were listening attentively this time, if you can, please.
I was definitely listening, and Victoria, you caught my attention with your story because you came with such transparency and honesty and vulnerability in what you had to say. And I'm not going to go to my level of transparency with your story, but I could so totally relate to that. And when you started talking about really to me what it was about resiliency. And I know that the question was about how what we get from life is what we give, and what you gave was to your children. And that was really powerful to me. And that's really pretty much it.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed your answer and your transparency.
Thank you.
Okay, now we probably have time for one more question. Yeah, we do. Okay, it will be short and very clear. Be the mentor you wish you had. And we would like to ask our guest,
Hello.
Elias, to
Yeah, can I?
comment
Okay.
on that.
Okay, wait. Uh, Hey, can you hear me and see me before I start?
We can
Clearly?
see
Okay,
you.
I'll start.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start. I always
So would
dream to have a mentor, the mentor that really care about me, and the mentor that nurture me to be someone like him. My mentor, TTM Setiawan, he has recruited more than 200 members, and he built the whole division for our district, Division G. He founded 12 clubs on his tenure in Toastmaster in, I think, 10 years. In just very short time, he managed to get president citation also and got the highest reward from the district because of his contribution. And yes, I couldn't be like him because he is so wonderful, so care to those members in our club. And then I tried to copy him in his humorous style. He is very humorous. He is actually 70 years old, a very wise man, but he doesn't want to be called old man. He always be want to be called bro. So I call him Bro Arlan. And he love it to do some of the jokes that can suit us, the millennials or the youngsters, and how he can behave so elegantly in the States transform me into someone who have been a very serious person into a comedic style. I haven't ever dreamed to become stand-up comedian, but we formed comedy club, and we have been doing this for 7 years, and we have already like in 19 countries and more than 200 members, and that's all thanks to Toastmasters. Back to you, Tamara.
Thank you very much, Alice. It was such a wonderful way to help us know you a little better, sharing like this, telling us from personal examples. Wonderful. Is there anybody who would like to volunteer to give a snap evaluation to Alice? If not, I will pick. So,
Well, how about you answer it?
me. Well, um, I like this role of table topics master because I know that I prepare in advance and then I don't have to shake and expect, oh, they might call me, oh, I might be called, I might be called. I relax. And when I hear that a person is talking, sharing, I just feel so peaceful, so so joyful, and I was so happy that Alice had an opportunity to speak today, to share. I was not listening very particularly because I couldn't expect this, to be honest, I really couldn't expect. But it was so good to be able to hear you, to hear about your favorite mentor and all your conclusions and to see your smile. And since you are new, you are our guest, and you really opened up through this comment. And I'm sure we are all happy that it all happened. Thank you. Now, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, before we move on, let's give a round of applause for those table topics and the responses, and then the snap evaluation. There was a lot, a lot. We're all better for it. Vicky, just checking in. Are we at the prepared speaking portion of the meeting? All right. Sandra, you know you're speaking, right? 15 to 25. Are you camera ready?
Yeah, I kind of got wind of that last night, so
Okay, and we're reminded that the timing is 15, 20, and 25 minutes. And we are having a round robin evaluator. So we do not have an evaluator to cue up her speech. We have the Toastmaster to read this introduction. Motivating and captivating mentoring. Thinking about joining Toastmasters, a creative, supportive mentor can make all the difference. Sandra Savage joined Toastmasters at Adobe thanks to a member who offered to mentor her. 37 years later, she's now mentoring her 26 Toastmasters. I did not stutter. 26th Toastmaster. Curious about becoming a mentor, but unsure where to start? Sandra has mentored first-time members and professionals to build on their speaking and coaching skills. Along the way, she has developed practical strategies and creative ideas to help mentors and mentees succeed together. Today, she'll share how mentorship can transform your Toastmasters journey and inspire both personal and club growth. Keep in mind that mentoring is a powerful way to gain and retain members. Please welcome Sandra Savage, a true master of
thank you.
mentoring. Sandra?
If you can't tell, I like mentoring. And we're going to talk about that today. Can you all see my slide? Okay, good. Thank you. I can't see you as much, but I'm going to have Michael be my eyes and ears, and he'll alert me to anything I need to talk or interrupt about. And keep your microphones on. This is an interactive presentation today. But before we start, do you remember a time when you were really excited to do something new and scared of it as well? Well, that's what a lot of guests feel when they walk into your Toastmasters meeting. Just like, other activities that they do, a new job, going to college away from home, even getting promoted at the company you're working with. They are new experience that you have to try on, and you want to do a good job and impress people at the beginning. You may have also moved to another city or country, and you have other things to take on, like language barriers and learning a new dialect or new language or new ways of saying things. Or like me, I like to learn new skills like creative writing. So I'm excited to do it, but to walk into a community college would be a little scary for me. And so is it for guests who walk into a first Toastmasters meeting, especially their very, very first, but also when exploring other clubs. And to club officers, I want to kind of plant this in your head. Well, actually, everybody. View your meeting as if you're a guest walking in for the first time. What would you like to have set up to make you feel welcome, informed, and ready to participate? So how I usually do mentoring is I will have someone come up to me or come to a meeting, and I'll say, hey, if you have any questions, just write me a line in the Zoom. In the old days when we had in-person meetings, which are coming back, we would often assign a buddy to be that person who would next to a guest and answer their questions for them. Oftentimes that buddy ended up being their mentor, because that first interaction is very key to a guest joining your club or coming back again and making it sure it's a good fit. And if you do become their mentor, please get to know them. Don't have them fill out forms. I did that once with a mentee way back, and I filled out all the forms from Toastmasters International, and it was boring for me, and it was learning a new person. And it seems so impersonal. So just really get to know them. And everybody is unique. Remember that they may be very similar to you, or they may be completely different. And I love both opportunities. One is to get to know new people, and new things and about other countries and look them up on the map and put a pin in it. But get to know what they do for a living and also get to know how adept they are with technology so that you can help them with some of the tasks in a Toastmasters meeting, like Trudy with timing today. They're going to need to learn new things, but they also may have some sophistication in Zoom as well. And we have to realize that we all have different things going on in our lives besides Toastmasters, although E.T. and I could probably exclude ourselves from that quote. People do have a work-life balance that they need to maintain. They have family, they have obligations, they may go to church, they may have certain time slots that are better than others. Get to know them and figure out how your puzzle pieces are going to fit together. Also, let your mentee know your expectations. I have a lot of resources I'm going to be handing out after the workshop. One of which is a 3-page kind of what is it like to work with me as a mentor? And in it, I tell them very clearly, no call, no show. Once, okay. Twice, not going to be happy. 3 times, I'm no longer your mentor. So we have to respect each other's time schedules. Then, this is probably the most important thing I dig out of my mentees is what do they want to do in life? And some of my mentees from the past have done some really exciting things, just to give you some ideas. They might want to start a small business or a side hustle. I had one gal who built a neurodiversity high school. They had some extra land on their school grounds, and she put together a big, thick binder of all the things that she needs to do and have done to make her neurodiversity high school functional. And she got it. We worked together on the whole plan, the speeches she had to give, and she went through the whole process using pathways for her practicing, and then went and proposed the whole thing. I also have worked with 2 ladies from Ukraine who had to go to another country because of the war, and they had to start over. And it wasn't just starting over in a new country, it was starting over with new people, new jobs, change of language, even a change of pace and norms. Also in Minnesota, my hometown, I worked with a gal who was in a senior high-rise, and there was some land around the building that they wanted to build into a community garden. So we worked on specific things to address her goals or her desires to achieve in life. I'm going to go past a bunch of these just to keep on time. But there are lots of ideas we have, and I will send to you later this speech that was given at Princeton last week about finding your purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, this speech will motivate you.
Your purpose does not.
Okay. I also work with my mentees to choose a path, because if they're not familiar with Toastmasters, or even some who have been in Toastmasters for years, they don't know what path would work the best for them. What's the difference between them? I come down to 3 different categories: me, we, and me. Now, if you don't know anybody in your club, you're probably going to start with a me category. And those 3 paths are presentation mastery, visionary communications, and engaging humor. They can do these all on their own. They can also work with their mentor to be a sounding board. They can also get feedback from their club. So they're not working alone, but they are not obligated to do a group project. Whereas with we, persuasive influence and motivational strategies. You do some team events, mainly for the benefit of your club or Toastmasters in general, and then lead. This is a great one that is seldom taken advantage of by club officers, and that is doing dynamic leadership. You can be a club officer and get all the projects in dynamic leadership done simultaneously. And it is time to talk about succession planning. So that is a good part of that project. Now I'm going to be giving you a lot of handouts, and I have a surprise. You are going to be the very first people in the world who will get the new version of the Pathways catalog. This is version 6. It has 6 engaging paths. Those are the ones going forward. The 5 legacy paths, and also information on the DTM and mentoring. I also will give you, as I mentioned before, this 3-page working agreement that I have with mentees, and it has all kinds of cool resources of podcasts to go listen to, speeches that you might want to look up, different resources that are going to help you as a speaker. And then, of course, we still have the Pathways cards for all 11 paths. How this works, Celine, you may not be aware of this, but I've made these cards that you take out all the white cards, and those are all your required ones for your path. And then your green cards, you pick out 2 or more for level 3, an orange one for level 4, and 1 or more of the yellow ones, which are level 5. And I keep saying or more, because you bought that whole path. You can choose to do all of these. But there are a minimum, and then you can lay them out, and you can start to do some ideas about what you want to do. And I mean, I have some other research ideas, like using artificial intelligence, looking at how-to books like Podcasting Made Simple, taking an online class like Coursera or Domestika, and then of course on Facebook. Even last night I saw this promo for Let Your Voice Be Heard. Your voice adventure begins at home, and it's great for storytellers. How many of you know about Google Scholar? And I can't see your hands, unfortunately. Michael, how many people have put their hand up?
I see 1.
Okay, let me tell you about this cool tool.
2.
2, all right. Google Scholar will not bring back any ads or marketing or, noise. All of the information on Google Scholar are published papers by professionals. So if you want to look up information on neurodiversity, go to Google Scholar, not Google, but Google Scholar, and they will come back with a listing of really solid information for you. Another thing you can do is set up a Google alert. Let's say you're interested in community gardens. You can tell Google to alert you to anything that it comes across when it indexes on a 24-hour basis of all the tags in information. It'll bring back those articles to you. So you can have it be your personal librarian. There's also Ocean of PDF, where you can get a lot of the books as a PDF for no charge. You can also interview people. Go out and ask someone who's an expert in their field, or someone that you've worked with before that you'd like some guidance. Even ask them to be a mentor for you, not necessarily for Toastmasters, but a mentor in your field of interest. Also, I was talking to Patrick last night about this. Knowing who your audience is will help you shape your speech, your wording, your storytelling. Get to know who your target audience is. In my head, I always have a little picture of a person. And sometimes if I need more help, I'll find a picture online and I'll print it out and put it on my computer monitor. Get to know who your target audience is, as well as who your competition is. If you're going to be having to compete with someone for time, space, buildings, resources, what have you, find out who the competition is. If you're going into a business, also think of who your companion is. So these are the things you can work with your mentee to help them get going on their Pathways plan. Now, oh geez, how do I describe Janet? Janet was one of my first mentees, and she was very meek and quiet and hardly spoke up, and I couldn't get anything out of her. Like, what do you want to do in your life? And so the second meeting, we got back together and she came in with a vision board. Now, usually I thought of those as that's what girls do when they get married and they pick out their colors and their bridesmaids and all that stuff. I'm not foo-foo, so that didn't really resonate with me. But hers was, she wanted to be a world photographer for National Geographic. And I was like, Janet, where have you been all this time? And so she had this vision board and it helped her brainstorm her goals visually. So if you're a person who's more visual than with words or outlines, you might want to put together a vision board. Her goal to be a photographer for National Geographic came true. So she's no longer a software engineer. You can also learn your style. You don't want to copy someone or be someone you're not. You can find out, for example, what do you want to sound like? If you're trying to get money donated for charity, you're going to want to have more empathy in your voice, compassion, storytelling, things. Find out the different tips and tricks that complement your style. Also, as soon as possible, start listening to the Oz, not only in a Toastmasters meeting, but on TV. And I say, we are the world's best critics in the whole wide world as soon as you turn on your TV. You can point out things in others you don't see in yourself, but then turn the mirror around and reflect it on yourself and say, yeah, that's how I want to sound. No, that's not how I want to sound. Rehearse your speeches together in your mentoring meetings. And I typically meet once a week with each of my mentees. I've got 3 right now. And rehearse your speeches. I also rehearse my speeches with them because it helps not only for me, but it helps the mentee learn how to evaluate. And the sooner you learn to be a good evaluator, your speaking quality will grow. So evaluate each other, go to other clubs, see what you like and how you want to be like that person. I love listening to podcasts and to Facebook Reels on people speaking and go, yeah, that hit me. Why? Ask yourself why something you hear, you like or you don't like. Ask yourself why. Why didn't I like it? And then discover great orators. We need to have more and more examples of great speakers in our lives. And to me, there's some really good ones out there right now in the US, Pete Buttigieg, Cory Booker, and of course, all of your TEDx speeches are so wonderful to listen to. Now, if you want to be a little bit more theatrical, you might want to get into that. That's just not my personality. I don't do theatrics. I do have a couple books I want to recommend to you. This one here, The Speaking Public, I got asked to review by the author. And I was shocked. I was sitting there like a bobblehead, agreeing with just about everything that was in there and learning new things as well. And then I don't know if you know that one of our former members, Sheila LaChance, her late husband was a fantastic speaker. I bought the book thinking it would help me with my writing about a young man that stutters, but it's all this wisdom, all these great tips and tricks from her late husband, Robert Feinberg. So I have those resources for you as well, or just pictures of it so that you can go and look for them. But I highly recommend both. I don't know which one I like better because they're both just jam-packed full of information. We're getting down to the last few slides. What is my time?
10:05.
Okay, and I'm supposed to finish by
10:10.
Okay. This is a chart I helped put together with each of my mentees. I have them pick a path, and my favorite one happens to be visionary communications because you have to write out a vision plan, which is that, Janet's little, vision board. But develop your vision. Figure out what you want to end up, where you want to be in, say, a year from now. What do you want to have accomplished? Let's say community garden. Then you'll learn also for level 5. And by the way, I look at the path backwards. I look at the level 5 and say, is this where I want to end up? And then I go back and look at all the other levels, all the requireds, all the electives. And by the way, Celine, you don't hear me say this, you do not have to do them in order. You can do your speeches in any order you're ready. The one I like the best, however, happens to be writing a speech with purpose. So once you start to fill out your vision plan, get up and give a speech about why it's important to you. Give feedback. Then you can do your icebreaker and tell us why you've become passionate about this from some experience in your life and where you are now and things like that. Use your path and your projects creatively to get you to your goal. Now, sometimes you might feel like just goofing off and giving a silly speech. Go for it. Practice is always good. And I also recommend that when you get to the end and you do your reflect on your path, don't give it at your own club first. Go to another club and give that speech. Show them how you went about getting done on time or early even, and then come back and give it to your club. By that, you've already started mentoring. If you go to another club and give them this speech, you will have started mentoring, even if it's just for 7 minutes. It's a valuable lesson to learn. And think outside of the box. Your icebreaker does not have to be about where you grew up. It can be about what you have in mind to do. For me, I need to write my novel. I need to finish it. There's a reason for it. Always ask for honesty, even if it hurts. We evaluate to help by being honest. If you really do a lousy job with your speech and you get feedback and you go, you know what, I want to give it one more time. I don't want to just pass by it. I want to give it one more time so that I have it solid in my brain. Repeat it. There's nothing, you can do that as many times as you need, as I mentioned earlier, in your own order, and do as many as you want. There's a minimum, but you can also do every single one of them if you want. And schedule yourself to finish. Write out dates with each one of your speeches. Your VPE will love you if you go up and say, I want to speak on this and this and this and this and this date. You'll be best friends. And as you're mentoring, if you've got someone who's interested in mentoring, why not work together? So you can have a co-mentor who's actually a mentee as well, along with your mentee that you're working with on their plans. The result of all of this is that, you're going to grow and be confident. You're going to be inspired. With your mentor's help, you can improve the quality and quantity of your speeches. If people get on a program and set dates to complete their speeches, you're going to have higher membership retention. And in fact, people, when they have a purpose to their speeches, tend to get more done and hog the schedule. So it's always good. We like to have a variety of speeches. Mentoring is a leadership opportunity, but you're also a student when you mentor. I've learned so much about so many different things from my mentees, including podcasting. A lot of people want to do podcasting, or they want to do storytelling on YouTube or whatever. That's a great way to get out your message to people too. And helping each other is something that makes us feel good. And I really appreciate Tamara's snap evaluation questions, because they really were about helping each other out and the pleasure that we get helping each other succeed. So we have about 5 more minutes. Does anybody have any questions? No questions? Celine, I'm going to pick on you. What kind of things would you think other people get from mentoring? From both being a mentor and being mentored?
Well, from mentoring, I think that you learn more about the subject, of course, that you are teaching. Whenever you teach or mentor something, you just learn more about it. You also learn how to work with people. I think I like how mentoring is usually designed where the mentee drives the relationship. I think that's something that's very important to understand. Rather than being an advisor as a mentor, I think there's a lot of listening going on. You have to get to know the subject, who you're mentoring, and then you find what's in your repertoire to help the person. So, yeah, I believe as a mentor, you do learn more and you learn how to communicate, actually. And I think that that can be an art because I think it's easier to start off advising people, but it's really important to listen first and then see what's going on and then see what kind of information you need to offer. I think it's really important to keep a club going strong, actually, is to have some kind of a mentoring program too. And I loved what you shared today because I think it's very important in a lot of situations and particularly in Toastmasters.
When I first looked at what it took to be a mentor and I looked at the manual that Toastmasters put out, it gave the same information I gave today, but I turned it around a little bit more to be friendlier and more fun. And I'd like to see our club mentor more people and figure out how we can incorporate that into maybe our mission statement. We'll be talking as club officers about this going forward, but everybody in this club's opinion will help shape what we do from here on in. How many of you have been mentors now that I can see your faces? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. That's more than half of the people here. How many have been a mentee or protege, whatever you want to call the word? Just about everybody, including myself. I went back about 4 years ago and heard this guy speak, and I loved it. And I felt like I could get along with him. And he kind of pushed me and said, well, why don't you have a DTM after 34 years? And I said, well, I don't know how to do it. And he says, well, I'll mentor you through the process. So it doesn't have to be just the path. It can also be for a project or a larger role that you'd like to take on and have someone lead. But I think it's important to have that relationship to keep your club strong. And I'll be dropping some of those resources in the chat as we go. Vicki, when would be the best time to do that so that we don't interrupt the evaluation portion?
After the evaluation is done.
Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to, who do I turn it over to? You, Vicki?
Sure, that would work.
All right.
Sandra, thank you for a wonderful speech. Now, we're going to do a round robin evaluation of Sandra's speech and give her as much feedback as possible. So I have a new way of doing it today. I have written out, while Sandra was talking, I wrote out 10 questions that you're going to give me a number and you have 1 minute. So Trudy, at 1 minute, please turn on your red light so that people know to wrap it up. Because I want to get at least 5 people to evaluate in the 5 minutes we have. Okay, so let me call on Patrick. Patrick, a number between 1 and 10.
6.
6. Okay, here's the question I'd like you to answer for Sandra. How did the pathways explanation help you understand the power of pathways?
That was a very deep dive into pathways. At the same time, I feel that Sandra did a great job making it relatable, whether you're a Toastmaster or that was your first introduction to the Toastmasters educational program. I love how she tailored it so that people have some way to connect to it, especially if that's their first exposure to it, about how it can help them and how you can utilize it to achieve your goals, whatever your goals might be. It's very, I loved how she put up some of the path names so you could kind of get an idea of what's out there for you: presentation mastery, visionary communication. And then she pulled out some examples of the different speech projects so you get an idea of just a quick overview of what's involved and something that might get people excited. Oh, that sounds interesting. I can make that work for me. So just incentive to get them to consider joining. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Patrick. Very well done. All right. I'd like to call on Victoria James because I like to call on Victoria's. Victoria, number between 1 and 10 except for 6.
1.
What do you remember about Sandra's opening?
I don't remember Sandra's opening.
Now that's
I do,
feedback
I
for
do.
Sandra.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, good to know.
Actually, I remember thinking at the opening that she gave you such good advice about like dropping the end at the beginning or flipping it with something that would be a little bit stopping for the audience to hear. And I remember wishing that she had done something similar. So I felt like it just kind of started as a talk that just there was no like here's what I'm gonna hit you with kind of at the beginning. So that's actually what I do remember.
Excellent. Excellent. See, you did remember. And here's the thing. I learned this a long time ago. Where you start a speech is where people start listening.
Yeah.
And often it's like blah, blah, blah. I'm not blah, blah on you, Sandra. Blah, blah, blah.
No.
They just say, and it's that you want. You want us, and just like Sandra gave me the feedback, excellent use of the same idea. Great cohesion in that remark. Victoria, good job. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I'd like to call on Jon White. 1 to 10, not 1 or 6.
The only number, 7.
7. Okay, good question. What could Sandra have done better?
I've been grappling with this. This was such a great presentation. It was such a sort of a Google Map satellite overview of the terrain. I didn't know the purpose. It started off as mentor based. Yeah, let's talk about matchmaking. Let's not fill out forms, this, that, and the other. And it quickly transitioned into you're a mentee, you're in the program. Here's how to get the most out of it. So to me, if it would have been to motivate you to be a mentor, you mentioned a lot, and I know your heart's in it. You know me, I need the emotion. I need that poignant moment. And there was Jill, and she didn't have any ideas what she wanted to do, but then she shared her vision board, and it came to life. I want to feel some. You're very professional. You know it front to back. I'd like to have a little clarity as to what the purpose was and a little juice, and I want to jump out of my chair and go do it. I know I will have the resources. I'm looking for a little more direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Jon. Very good. Okay, I'm going to do one more question and I'm going to call on Celine. And you have about a minute, Celine. So give me a number between 1 and 10, not 1, 6, 7.
Oh, so is that in terms of rating the speech or something?
No, I want a number. Give me a number and I'll give you a question.
Okay, 8.
8, my favorite number. What would you, and you have 1 minute, Celine. What would you like to congratulate Sandra about?
I want to congratulate her about actually helping us to understand another way to work the pathways, actually, because that seems to be a challenge. I've been coming up with some ways to help people complete their projects, but it is nice when somebody makes it more interesting. And I really like how she pointed out how you could work from the top down and how you can define your goals. And she just made it really clear and simple. You define your goal, and then there's a central project that you can work with, writing a speech with purpose, and then you can connect it with other projects. And I thought it was excellent how she mentioned that there was somebody who started, I think it was the one who started the Neurodiversity High School, which I thought was an amazing story in itself. And she aligned the entire project of building this high school with a pathways project. That was something that I was curious about. I was curious about how you can align a project with your HPL project, but I didn't actually know that you could actually connect it to an entire pathway. So I thought that that was amazing, and I'm going to think about that. I'm going to try to work with that and talk about it with my clubs and see if I can get people to do a deeper dive into their pathways and make it fulfilling for them.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Celine. Okay, so I am going to keep going, Jon, because we're now at the general evaluation section. Trudy, if you could put in the chat the timing of the speakers and their snap evaluations, just put it in chat at your leisure. I'd like to now call on Victoria James to give us her grammarian report. You have 2 minutes, Victoria.
Okay.
Could you hold on for a second, please?
Sure.
Trudy, I can
It's okay.
Victoria if you'd like.
That's okay. Okay, start.
Okay.
Okay. So for the grammarian report, this is my first grammarian report ever, so please be kind. And I'm going to be more kind than I was last time when I gave half points for variations on the word of the day. So the word of the day counts are Jon 2, Trudy 2, Sandra 1, Kathy 1, Gisela 2, and Victoria 1. As for the gems and the germs, so these were words and phrases and quotes that stood out to me, or maybe were a little stale and fell a little bit flat. There were quite a number of them, so I'll try to stay within my time. Tomorrow, I love your introductions. I loved it when I was a visitor as well. The thoughtfulness you put into the intros are just delightful. Trudy, at the beginning, you said stop at red, and by the way, you're red behind you, so I'm not sure if I'm out of time yet, but you said stop at the red, otherwise you go to jail. And I just loved it because it was so authentic. You didn't use the normal cliche of you don't pass go, don't collect $200. I just love the authenticity of you just go to jail. So I love that thought. Victoria T, a phrase you used was, if you're afraid of no, you never get to yes. That was a kind of like an that hit me as very authentic and true. Patrick, you gave a great quote too. It was, if you can go fast, if you go alone, you can go far if you go with others. But I like that quote, but I will comment that immediately after that, you used a phrase to the effect of a man is not an island unto himself, which I felt was cliche. So I would suggest just pausing after giving a good quote. Celine, I loved the idea of rational selflessness and the way that you defined that. Be careful about, you gave a long quote as well. I'd say be careful getting lost in a really long quote. I got kind of lost in the quote. Jon, I love your sense of humor. Don't call me old, call me experience. Sandra, the idea of discovering great orators, great idea. And I love the way you turn the tables on Tamara on the table topics, and you really live up to your name, Savage, on that one. Be careful. There was a filler word, and I hear myself using filler words, but you used the filler word OGs, which struck me just a little bit. I'm very religiously sensitive, so OGs is a filler word I'd be careful about. And I love your presentation overall. but the slide, think outside the box, again, it fell flat because it's just cliche. So I would suggest a little fresher language on that. Be original, do something unexpected. I would just rename that part a little bit. So that is my report for today.
Wow. Thank you, Victoria. Well done. I'd like to give my general evaluation. I'm going to do it in 2 minutes because we're running out of time, as usual. Okay, very, very cohesive meeting today. We are short in numbers, but we are strong in speeches, and the evaluations were excellent. Not only were the table topic questions great, Tamara, but I would say that the SNAP evaluations were excellent. I mixed it up a little bit on the round robin for Sandra, and you all did a really good job staying on topic and answering the question. Round robins can feel a little too open and we don't know where to go, but you really, really did a nice job. And as my mother, Dead Rita, would say, if you missed today's meeting, you're lost. What an excellent job, everyone. It was well run. We filled the roles. We're going to fill the roles again at the end for next time, because the more we're prepared for the meeting, the better it is. I'm not into filling roles at the last minute. I don't know if we should just take Zoom Master off the agenda because nobody takes the role and we kind of do it as co-leaders, but really, really well done, everyone. And I think that if we stay on this path, no pun intended, we'll do even better. Sandra, did you get a chance to put the handouts in the chat yet? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so please download the chat, get these resources. Sandra, fabulous job today. Thank you for stepping up and doing this. And I learned so much, as I always do with you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. 1 minute, 35 seconds for that.
Thank you. I will, in the interest, and Michael said I go on and on, I will limit my comments to 8 to 10 minutes. Let me just say this. I'm dubious about the themes, but I'm loving themes through the MOE lens. And I love how the table topic ties to it. So there seems to be a cohesion. I'm now at 3. I love the visual graphics. I was a little put off by the disembodied feet, and someone mentioned to me that there were 2 left feet. Then I had to be anal and correct them and say actually it was 2 right feet. So I missed the opening of the speech. I saw lots of faces and not screensavers. I really enjoy seeing people's reactions, and it really enhances the quality of the meeting. And I always am thankful for the OGs, if I may use it, Victoria, the established elders of the club. And I'm really excited about the up and comers. I listened to Victoria James. I go, could she vie for my favorite Victoria in life? I mean, I never thought there was such a word. I'm not saying she's there, Victoria. I'm saying sharpen up your game. And then I see Gisela, and she's a light. She's got this. I guess what I'm saying is we're becoming better communicators, better leaders, and wiser human beings. If you're open to what is, because what at my age, I want to expand and grow. I know what I know, and I could just stay in my head and be self-convicted. So I really enjoy the brilliance of the club, the diversity, and just how I'm enriched. I'm always taking notes. It used to be out of insecurity. Now it's out of a goal to better myself. So thank you. It's a wonderful meeting. All I would do is that all the guests would become members, and then they would introduce more guests, and we would become 20, 30 strong. This is too good to keep to ourselves. And with that, I will turn it back to our president, Sandra Savage.
Thank you. This was so much fun, even though I was nervous so much of that time, but it was great. Tamara, I cannot believe how many people write down your quotes. It was shocking when I saw everybody write down, and as I did, a smile is a curve that sets things straight. I mean, we could have a whole meeting on that topic. That's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. We are coming to the close of the meeting and also of our officer year, and we have most positions filled. We still have a few openings. If you're interested in any of them, please let us know as soon as possible. And again, remember, you can use this as an HPL project or a DTM project. So being a club officer has its benefits, not just its duties. So the last thing I'd like to do is ask, let's see, I'm going to ask a unique question this time for our guests to comment on. And this is from my first meeting in Toastmasters. I remember that speech 37 years later. What about this meeting today will you remember next week, next month, next year? And I'm going to start with Patrick.
Well, that's easy, the breakdown of the past and how they can help you. As I look at wrapping up many of the past that I'm in and think about a focused way to apply the next path that I want to start on to my goals, I'm going to look at that slide where you unpacked it all and worked backwards and factor that into my decision and do some strategic planning beforehand. So, and I think that's going to be a from now on type of thing. So thank you for sharing all of that wonderful information. Great presentation, great meeting. Happy to be here as always. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you. And Gazella. Well,
For me, there were several things. One point in time you said, what's the purpose of your speech? What is the message you want to convey? Why are you passionate about it? That really hit me. Okay, because I mean, I have to connect to the audience. Okay, and I found that awesome. And then secondly, that famous slide where you said, we leadership with the pathways, that breakdown. And that was also for me great stuff that I will remember and that I know that I have to work on. So thank you very much. I learned a lot, Sandra.
thank you. And E.T., my international traveling buddy, what will you remember after today's meeting?
Yeah, later on, Will. You can skip me maybe after this.
Yes. Okay. And I'm going to conclude then with Celine. What will you remember down the road from this meeting today?
I think I will remember some pointers on how to become a better speaker and evaluator, because it seems to be the focus of this meeting. And also, I will continue to think about the subject of mentoring, the notion of mentoring, and how important that is in Toastmasters, and how I think talking about that and seeing how that applies to people's goals will help people get more involved in Toastmasters and probably help them become more involved as a leader in Toastmasters, because I think that that's really an important part of the program. And I think that, well, Sandra, your speech has helped me to translate that to support people with their goals, actually. So I'm going to keep working with what you talked about today. I took a lot of notes, and I think it's going to help me to lead my clubs this term.
Thank you. And E.T., now we can see you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Sorry. Now I'm ready. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you all here, and I'm privileged to be here because I really love the club name, the Masters of the Evaluation. And I joined Toastmasters because I need feedback. I need someone who are there to give me constructive feedback. Because some of those who know me, they even didn't dare to give constructive feedback. They just doing the wishy-washy and sugarcoat everything. And I don't really like it. So yes, I saw you are doing your session quite good, very excellent. I would like to comment on because all of this is like definitely the definition of your club name. Everything has been evaluated. Like the double topic directly get evaluated, and also the session itself got evaluated. And yes, even the Sandra session also got uh, feedback like that. That's wonderful, and I really like your filter background there. Wow, the color itself is so good. It enticed my ear, my eyes. I'm a very visual person, so yes, thank you for satisfying my appetite. Because yes, I know Sandra is the chef here. That I know her so much of her cookbook, and thank you for inviting me to this meeting. Looking forward to see all of you, and back to you, Sandra.
Thank you, ET. Now, Vicky, I'm going to turn it over to you to make sure our next meeting is fun and rememberable as well.
Don't mind if you do, Sandra. Okay.
Well, we are done. And if some of the club officers can stick around, we are going to have a chance to chat with Celine. And if at any time you think of an idea, a theme, a topic you'd like to pursue, and make possibly even our table topics theme or the whole meeting theme, please pass along your ideas. Many of, a few of us I can point out, including myself, that go to a lot of Toastmaster meetings. We get ideas from other clubs. Let's try them out here. If you enjoyed it, let's try here, see if it works with our people. And if they like what comes out of it, let's do it. So I'm open to ideas, although I'll be turning that torch over in a couple weeks. So, but in the meantime, keep bothering me for your ideas, and also if you're interested in an officer role. Vicky.
Kathy.